Top of the morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. Today, for my first review, I've decided to review a book that I've just read for the second time, and it is The Warded Man by Peter V. Brett. This book was gifted to me several years ago by a fellow author, and I just finished my second read through and am more in love with this book than I was even on my first. There are three things in particular that I really enjoyed about the story. The first is the complex characters who form the three main point of views throughout the story. I think particular attention for me can be drawn to Arlen, who we first meet as a young man, and eventually, I suppose this is a slight spoiler, but fairly obvious, becomes the warded man of the title. Like most epic fantasy characters, he is shaped by tragedy at a young age. But what I found really interesting reading this story was how that tragedy shaped him both as a child and as a young man, and eventually as a full-blooded warrior trying to fight against the horrors of this world. He is the sort of character whose greatest strengths are also the source of some of his weakest flaws, and it's really fun to see how his character develops over the course of the novel. The second part of the novel that I really enjoyed was the world itself. For those of you who have been reading my epic fantasy, you have probably seen some of this influence in my own work. And it is not necessarily a new idea in fantasy, but it is done very well here. And that is the idea of the world itself being hostile to humanity. In this case, it is elemental demons that arise from the core of the planet every night to attack humanity and destroy it as well as they are able. And I think that one of the things that this book does so well is it creates a very believable world in which humanity can't go out at night. And those messengers who are able to brave the night and travel more than one day at a time to reach places where goods and messages need to go are richly rewarded. There are several times while reading the book where you see how different life would be if your only ally is daylight. And so I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoy the challenge of having an entire world fighting against humanity, and the protagonist has to bring the fight back to the demons. And finally, the third thing that I want to mention is the magic system of the Warded Man. I've mentioned this before a few times in some of the Waterstone Media podcasts that I've done with Taylor. But the only weapon and the only defense that humanity has against these demons are wards. And, of course, I'm going to be a sucker for this because I am a writer. I do believe strongly in the power of words. But it is fun here to see not just the words, but the symbols having power over the demons. When the story opens, humanity has lost many of their wards, and one of the main quests in the story is Arlen's journey to seek out the wards that had been lost long ago. And there is something that is just incredibly appealing to me as an author, seeing words have such visible effect on the enemies in this story. And so those are three things that I really enjoyed about The Warded Man. The first time I read the book, I only read the first story. It is the first in a completed series of 5. I do have all of the rest and will be continuing on. But if that's the sort of thing that sounds appealing to you, I would recommend you check it out. It is certainly a dark series, but I very much enjoyed it. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you again soon.